Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gargoyles episode reviews. Today we're wrapping up High Noon. Demona and Macbeth have revived the once-dead Coldstone again, but he's a little more than bait for their true aim. Elisa must choose between dying or being a traitor. Either choice means the clan dies. What's behind door number 3, though? For that matter, who or what is behind all this? It takes a heck of a lot of power to make enemies like Demona and Macbeth work together. As is often the case in the Gargoyle universe, things are not as they seem. Hudson and Broadway find Macbeth's amazing library. Yep, great, another library to be jealous of. It's circular, and got a big light in the top, and it's got a second level there on it. Amazing. Macbeth, who mocks their inability to read, little does he know they can both read now. Well, a bit, anyway. There's a fun bookshelf ladder chase between Broadway and Macbeth. Then they land a solid blow on him, or rather, the floor does. After an initial victory on Demona's part, Brooklyn wins. This is thanks to the shared pain effect because of the above scuffle. Well, that's not good when Demona's charging at you there. Looks pretty intimidating. In the basement, the Gargoyles find Coldstone chained. Goldstone warns them that this is a trap, and Macbeth and Demona are lurking about, ready to ambush them. Wait, did Othello or Desdemona take control? Why is he warning the clan? Did Mac and Dee turn on Iago, maybe? The conquerors now return with an unconscious Macbeth and Demona. Then, after a moment of vacillation, they free Coldstone. Lex buys the good intentions. He proved himself, right? Wrong. He grabs Macbeth and Demona, then hovers with them as the floor becomes electrified. This knocks out the Gargs. I don't know if it would actually work without killing them, the whole unconsciousness thing. But whatever, physics in the Gargoyle universe is a bit mushy. Well, what do you know? It was a trap after all. There's a picture of them getting zapped, and Coldstone hovering up there with Macbeth and Demona. Bit of electric shuffle there. Back at the clock tower, Elisa is starting to worry about the Gargoyles. It's almost dawn. Who should meet her but Demona? Elisa still hasn't figured out that the ginger equals Demona, which makes sense considering she didn't get a good look and then took a powerful blow to the head. The detective should know something's up, though, since Demona is here despite the sunrise. Then Demona turns to her human form as the sun comes up. Well, it's a surprise for Elisa. Demona tells her that the Gargoyles are at the Belvedere Castle with Coldstone. Elisa can come save them at high noon, which means Demona and company will kill her, or she can ditch out and leave the Gargs to their rubbly fate. She can be dead or a traitor. Yeah, fun choice. I go with attacking Demona right now. But Elisa instead tries to arrest her. On what charges? Trespassing? That's a fine. Assaulting a cop? Yeah, where's your proof? I mean, nowadays they don't really need proof, but whatever. Elisa, nobody is ever intimidated by your gun. They know you're not going to shoot them. She's got holding her gun on Demona, who does not look at all impressed. So Demona ends up walking out and hailing a cab. Yep, she's still in her Garg attire, the bra and loincloth, which magically still fit her perfectly. Did they get the immortality spell too? She's had the same clothes with the same little tears on the sides for 1,000 years. Why not upgrade? Elisa follows, but she runs into Morgan. He asks if she's slept. When she says not much in 48 hours, he tells her to get some sleep. She was unconscious for a good chunk of that, so I don't want to hear about how tired she is. She says it's tempting. If she did, her life would be free of, quote, monsters, good and bad, unquote. She'd go back to normal. Okay, well, why did she call them monsters? That's the last thing she sees them as. Sarcasm, maybe? No, but they need her, she decides. Morgan agrees that she is needed, and that's why she puts on the badge. Yeah, maybe that's what they put on the badge for 25 years ago. That settles it. She bounds off. Sure enough, the whole Stone clan is chained in the park. Nobody in authority notices this. Nobody notices Mac standing there with arms and armor, or Demona in her skimpy clothing. Or, well, Coldstone. Coldstone is with them. He is still flesh because of his magical origins. You are no longer a gargoyle, Demona says. Oh, that's pretty intense, but only Iago hears it. He doesn't seem to care. At this point, he's just after control. He's accepted his lot as a ghost in a machine. Whether that's from insanity or adaptability, I don't know. Well, those two are often pretty close. And there's Brendan and Margot. They don't even glance at him. Demona wants to shoot Elisa with an RPG, like any sane, pragmatic villain would do to their protag foe. But Macbeth mocks her for not being able to take on Elisa, hand to hand. There she is, in her bra and her loincloth with that same RPG that she had in Awakening, that blew the castle apart and had unlimited ammo. You guys teamed up, and you should be more dangerous than being solo antagonists. But so far they've managed to be less threatening than when they're both on their own. There she is, just glaring daggers at Macbeth, who's laughing. It's a strange scene. Now, what follows is quite fascinating. Demona fights like a gargoyle, which doesn't work when you're human. Elisa puts her down pretty quick. Then, in Coldstone land, Desdemona suddenly becomes triplets. Oh, deja vu. A bunch of color errors in the sisters' hair ensue, by the way. Do the weird sisters even have to get into the digital world? Jeez. Othello and Desdemona decide to check on Iago. Now we're back to fighting for control. Desdemona holds Iago down while Othello takes the wheel. The tables turn, and Macbeth and Demona turn tail. I should mention that despite Elisa kicking human Demona's butt through all this, Macbeth seems oblivious to Demona's pain. She gets thrown headfirst into a stone gargoyle, yet he doesn't even blink. Even Greg admits this was a cheat. And now, here they are hopping onto his VTOL, advancing in the opposite direction. All this was for that little exchange? Why? If they knew where the Gargs were, why not just kidnap them in the day and do this same crap that way? A lot easier. How'd they know where to find them? And why does Demona doesn't she just kill them in their sleep on her own? It's a redo of Enter Macbeth, using them as bait. It's got a nice twist, though, in that Demona is helping to orchestrate it instead of being the target. Now, Coldstone is about to blast off when Elisa stops him long enough to free the Gargs. He says that he's too dangerous to be around people. When he takes off, he's heading into exile. Well, that puts us back almost to square one with Goldstone's problem. Shutting him down and putting him out of sight or out of mind is the only way the writers seem to be able to handle him. If they did anything else, we might be stuck with having to have him as part of the clan, and that's just creepy. Back at Macbeth's pad, there's a big reveal going down. Demona is pissed, but Macbeth is chill since they've completed their, quote, primary objective, unquote, something Demona apparently didn't know of. Macbeth explains that they only kidnapped Goldstone and brought him back so he could act as cover for their theft as the Phoenix Gate, Eye of Odin, and Grimoire. No, pretty smart. With Goldstone taken, Goliath won't miss the artifacts for a few weeks. Epic loot drop. There they are, in a pile. I don't know if Goliath goes in there and checks it every day or anything. I think he probably doesn't. So they could have just snuck in there, grabbed the stuff, left, and, it'd probably be about a week before he found it anyway. Well, this all makes me sorry for Coldstone, though. Yet again, he's the pawn, not given any respect or valued one whit. Once they were done with him, they were happy to throw him away. I wonder where he went. Well, it starts to come back to Demona. She used a spell from the Grimoire to cloak them while in the park. Oh, that's why nobody noticed them. Okay, so it wasn't from the spell she stole. Then she wonders why they stole the artifacts in the first place. They both wonder why they're working together. Just as they start to turn on each other, with Macbeth grabbing a chair and Demona about to jump on him, the weird sisters appear and freeze time around them. Side note, Demona's eyes glow red even in human form. I think that's an error. The three comment that they arrive just in time since the spell they put on M and D is wearing off. Now it makes sense, sort of. It doesn't explain what the sisters want with the artifacts. It can't be good. Those are three powerful items. The Archmage commented that he would have great power if he collected all three. It's like McDonald's Monopoly, that game that they used to have, but better because you don't have to go buy their crappy food-shaped products. Turns out the sisters don't care about Coldstone either. They don't need him, per Luna. They have what they need for the, quote, coming battle. Oh, a battle? Then they vanish, and so do Macbeth and Demona. Final thoughts. I gotta be honest. It had been ages since I saw this episode, even when I did the rewatch for the blog writing. I ended up sleeping through this episode the time before. It's never been one of my favorites, even though Macbeth is in it, because of the ending. As a viewer, I felt cheated, since this really wasn't Demona and Macbeth. Instead, it was mind-altered versions. You can't learn much about a character when they're under a spell. But after the in-depth reviews of all the eps leading to this one, I now have an appreciation for it. M and D aren't totally brainwashed. Also, you learn more about their bond, how their bond works. You see how they must have worked together back in the good old days. They sort of make a good team. I mean, they got the objective completed there. Their dialogue is great, too. Overall, it's a nice transition episode from City of Stone to whatever comes next. They're setting up the next tier of the series. It's going to be a heavy one. Next week, we review Outfoxed. Not to spoil it for you, but Fox is involved. House Xanatos' lives are about to change in a big way. But in the meantime, Fox has decided to take over Cyberbiotics. Just a little weekend whim. Remember that company? It was the company in Awakening that Xanatos tricked the Gargoyles into stealing the discs from. That stupid air fortress and that tower in the bay and the underground train station one. Yeah, that company. Which is still somehow in business, despite being absolutely awful at managing their funds. Well, we're about to get the inside scoop on Cyberbiotics and its founder. You won't want to miss the big reveal at the end. So, what did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you feel like it was kind of cheating? Or was it okay with you? Well, you can comment here. You can comment on the blog. Remember to like, share, subscribe, do all the things. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.